The question I would like to ask each one of us is, can Nigeria be a great nation? That's a very important question. Do you think Nigeria can be a great nation? Maybe I would like to see our charts. Let me see your responses on the chart, everyone. Can Nigeria be a great nation? Mr. Elam, please help me check the chart and pick some of the responses that are coming. If you think Nigeria can be a great nation, what do you think we can do to make Nigeria a great nation? So I know many of us will respond and say, yes, Nigeria can, yes, Nigeria can. But the question is, what do you think we can do to make Nigeria the great nation that it ought to be? So let me hear from you, Mr. Elam. You can just help me read out a few of the responses.
Okay. From Gift Umaru says, yes, Nigeria can. So many chat is coming in. Beg your pardon, let me read some.
Okay.
Olga Cecilia says, yes, sir, if we are determined.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Lawan Mustafa said, honesty and integrity. Then we have Give Tomorrow says, I guess change the whole concept of leadership, change our mindset. We have Goodness. Owe says, with good leadership, Nigeria can be a great nation.
Okay.
Then we have Honor 6A Blandish. Unity is the backbone, followed by good leadership. Then Melody Nasara says, by bringing the right people into power. And we have one from Ifiolua Praise says, Nigeria can be a great nation when we have credible and honest leaders who knows what it means to lead. Maybe we can take this view.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for reading it out, sir. So Nigeria can be a great nation. And when we say, can Nigeria be a great nation, a good number of us were answering at the affirmative. Many of us answering, yes, Nigeria can, yes, Nigeria can. But the question is, how will Nigeria become a great nation? That's the question. What can we do for Nigeria to become a great nation? I don't know if the slide is working. Please help me check. I'm having some challenge from my own end.
It is. It's working. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can you tell me which of the slide is showing, please?
Can Nigeria be great again? Or can Nigeria be a great nation?
Is it on, okay, beautiful. Is it on slideshow?
It's not on slideshow.
Okay.
Yes.
What about now?
Not yet.
Okay. Maybe it's network, but I believe you can still follow me, right?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so I'll be capitalizing my conversation on a book titled Good to Great. How many of us have read the book Good to Great? Good to Great is a book written by Jim Collins. Jim was trying to assess by checking the great nations we have on earth and the big companies that we have that have survived over a long time. Companies we call great. He studied hundreds of them, almost 21,000 of them or so, I'm not sure. And he was trying to check what were the things that made Nigeria to become, that made those companies to become great. What were the things that made those nations to become powerful, that we make reference with them even up to date. So Jim Collins started, and this is what he discovered. Anyway, look at the GDP per capita of nations. we can link it out, link how countries became so great, you understand, by the book Good to Great. If you check where my cursor is, in 1960, do you observe that in 1960, Uganda, South Africa, and Korean Republic, before they transformed to North and South Korea, they were almost on the same level in terms of GDP generation. Do you observe that, everyone? Yes, I believe you can see that. Do you see that at the time, they were all growing, then they got to a point of what? A meeting point. Many years ago, they got to a place of meeting point. In 1985, there was a meeting point, around 1984, 1985. Then something happened. You see what happened to South Korean GDP? It kept going higher, higher, and higher. And then you find a country like Uganda still very low as of 2009. You find that of South Africa still low as of 2009, even though it was higher than some African countries. Nigeria presently have the highest GDP in Africa. So the question that Jim Collins tried to ask is, what was it that transformed those nations from what it used to be far back 1960 to what it is now? So what I want to do in this session is to take us through the journey, right? And then help us to see clearly what can be done to transform a nation from a first third world nation to a first world nation. They also want us to look at how they made it possible. How did they do it? That's the question that should be ringing in your mind. So it's not enough to desire that, yeah, can Nigeria be a great country, a nation? Yes, Nigeria is a great nation. Sorry, Mr. Elam, the slide, what slide is it? Is it still on the second slide, or what slide?
No, it's on the first one. Can Nigeria be a great nation? That's where the slide is.
Okay, so let me just stop sharing and start sharing again, because it seems
Okay.
the network is not allowing my slide to move. Okay. Sorry, everyone. So what about now?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so this is the illustration I was trying to express of how nations like South Africa and Korea Republic grew so greatly in their GDP. And if you look at what the world is, that was the average of all the nations in the world. So Good to Great is trying to explain what and how nations grew from what we call a state of goodness or a state that is low to a state we call great. So let's look at Nigeria, for instance. If I ask you a question, if we want to make Nigeria great, what are the things that we need to look at critically? And I mentioned 6 things there, because after many things that were after a survey, many people, these are the things they talk about. You also see things like this in the book Good to Great. I believe when we go through some of the responses that we gave, many of us are talking about things that have to do with any of these 6 things. For instance, we think of, okay, what can we do in terms of policies, activities to change this country or to move this country from a level of good to a level that we call it great. Many of us will start thinking, okay, how can we do it? Methodology. What are the methods we use? Many of us will think of why. What should we do? What is the advantage? How should people benefit from this thing? When should we do it? How long should this reform take? Then another question that nations ask when they want to reform or when they want to change is who are those responsible? Who do we handle? Who should we bring in to do some things? Then the next thing people talk about in nation building is what are the costs? Now I want to ask you that question, and I want you to put it on the chart, everyone. What among these 6 points is the most important question to consider if we must build a nation? I want to see responses on the chat. From these questions, which of these questions is the most important to be considered for any nation to grow? Yes, I'm waiting for responses. Yes, any on the chat? I want to see it on the chat. What is the most important question to deal with from these 6 if a nation is to grow? Sorry, is the slide moving? Mr. Elam, what slide are you seeing?
That's what I want to comment now. We cannot see the slide. It's not moving. It's not corresponding with where you are at the moment.
Okay.
So while we wait, please, if there are questions that you want to ask or you want to ask during the sessions, please type your questions so that as soon as the session is over, we can attend to your questions.
Okay, thank you. So I believe everyone can see what I have there, right? So these are the questions. Yes, I'm seeing responses. Yes, beautiful. Okay, beautiful. So somebody said how, somebody said how, people say how, Peace is saying we should address the what question, what should we do? Nushi Blessing said we should talk, what exactly is the problem? So, okay. So are there more? Okay, who, somebody, Aguna Tata is saying who? Bulus, what? Okay, Bulus, Ibrahim say what? Okay, someone say why, how, what? Thank you for your responses. Now, according to the good to great model, the most important question to deal with is to handle the issue of who. If a nation is to go from good to great, the matter of who should be handled. Nations are driven by individuals. Success is orchestrated by people. So it's not enough to think of policies. For instance, when we talk of policies, Nigeria has
Apologies, everyone. Mr. Sheun, are you there? Sorry for the break in transmission.
is a question of who. Kicked me out. I'm back, right?
Thank you. You're welcome back.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. Is everyone seeing me now? Mr. Elam? Okay.
We can see you, we can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Don't mind us. Sometimes the way network runs in our places here, we just have to be patient with network. Okay. It's okay. I'm back. So the most important thing to consider is what? The who. That is who and who are going to be responsible for any growth. Take note. So there's a road to transformation of nations from good to great. like we can see, according to that good to great manual. It says if a nation is to grow from a state of poverty to a state of great wealth, three things must be put into action. One, develop disciplined people. Number two, with disciplined thoughts. Number three, with disciplined action. So three things: your character, the competence of the people, and placing the right people in the right place will lead to national transformation. This is the model that I'm going to be sharing with you as we continue with our session. Are we together, everybody? Okay. So it says this, if you look at the word from good to great, it says from you look at level 5 leadership, where you look at teamwork. Yesterday, we taught you the irrefutable laws of leadership. If time permits, we're going to be taking you through the levels of leadership. So you understand that these three things can play out in these 6 different steps. You have the team. They now confront the brutal reality that this is the situation a nation is. And then you begin to build a culture of discipline and you harness technology so that the nation can grow very big. Now, I'm going to be looking at that critically. But let's look at Nigeria. I believe the picture before you is not picture that is far from what you already know. Mr. Elam, I don't know why my slide is not moving, even with my presentation. I don't know, but probably you can, maybe, what should we do?
Can you share with me so that
Yes, I will do that right away.
Thank you, sir.
I will do that right away. Please, everyone, be patient with us to fix this network issue. Okay, please be patient, everyone. Okay. Okay. Can we all see this? So, are we together, everyone? I believe you can all see this.
Yes, sir, we can
So
see.
this was what I just explained, that the road to transforming nations from good to great has to do with developing disciplined people with disciplined thoughts and with disciplined action. This is what leads to national transformation. Then I'm also talking about, I also share this. Okay, since my slideshow is not working, maybe I will just continue with this. I believe everyone can see this, right? So the broad view of good to great is explained there. Discipline people, discipline thought, discipline action. And this is what leads to greatness or breakthrough that we have always seen in big nations. Now, I was saying that when you see this picture, I believe that something comes to your mind, everyone. And what comes to your mind is the fact that this is something close to what we have in Nigeria. For instance, in Nigeria, the poverty capital of the world, According to Nigeria Bureau of Statistics in 2020, it said that 40% of Nigerians live in poverty. This is great. This is alarming. India needs to be the poverty capital of the world, but behold, they have moved out of that statistics, and then Nigeria has refused to go out of it. The HDI for Nigeria in 2019 is 0.539. So we are in the low human development category. So this is positioned as the 161 out of the 189 countries in terms of what? The Human Development Index. Then you look at maternal mortality. According to WHO, the maternal mortality rate of Nigeria is 814 per 100,000 live births. So the lifetime risk of a Nigerian woman dying during pregnancy, childbirth, postpartum is 1 in 22. So you can imagine, this has placed us in number 1 out of almost 4,900 places that were evaluated. So I want to share with you the tale of 3 nations. 1, Nigeria, 2, Dubai, Singapore. And we'll look at where these countries used to be and where they are today. I hope everybody is following. If you are following, just share with me. Let me hear you on chat if you're following. Beautiful. Okay, that's good. Beautiful. So let's look at Nigeria. Let's look at Dubai. Let's look at Singapore. What is it? Why am I selecting these 3 nations? These 3 countries were colonized by Great Britain. Do you know that we also get our independence almost the same period? So sometimes we are good in the blame game in Nigeria. We blame the colonial masters, we blame, but let's look at these 3 nations and see what has happened for them, with them. While some of them moved forward, Nigeria has continued to move backward. Okay, so let's look at Dubai and Singapore. In Dubai and Nigeria, we are both colonized by Great Britain. Nigeria and Dubai, we both have petroleum. Again, you can say Nigeria and Dubai, we are both a religious country. I believe all of you agree with me. They were all religious countries. Okay. Now, Nigeria gained independence in 1960. Dubai got independence in 1960 something. Nigeria discovered oil even before Dubai. Nigeria started exploring our oil and even exporting it before Dubai. Let's take note of that. Now, do you know that Nigeria also have more advantage, have higher advantage over Dubai? For instance, Dubai doesn't have a fertile land. You know, Nigeria has, in fact, Nigeria is blessed with fertile land. Everywhere is fertile land. Dubai does not have natural rivers, lakes or streams. Everything they have is man-made river. Nigeria, we have plenty. We have the seas, we have oceans, we have rivers, we have lakes, we have lagoons in Nigeria. Dubai does not have a major raw material. Most of the things they have are imported. Nigeria, we have virtually every raw material you can imagine on it. In fact, some of them, we don't even know that we have them. And many of us in Nigeria, Nigeria doesn't even know what to do with the mineral resources that they have. I was listening to someone, and he said that the mineral resources that Nigeria have in Plateau State, Taraba State, that they are more than the natural resources that are in Asia. Just 2 states. I don't know how true that data is, but that's what the professor was sharing during one of the public lectures in the university, in UNN's, he's a public lecture in UNN. So you can imagine that kind of thing. Dubai built our first airport in 1960. Nigeria, our Mala Aminu Kano International Airport was built in 1922, and it started operation in 1936. Oil was discovered in Dubai in 1958, while oil was discovered in Nigeria in 1956. Nigeria started drilling oil by 1958, while Dubai started drilling oil in 1960. So you're seeing that Nigeria, as of 1960, we were much better, far better than Dubai, and far better than Singapore. Are you following me through this journey, everyone? Okay. So, what's the Dubai? Why, if I ask all of you a question, that which country would you like to be sponsored to, or would you like to go to? Choose between Nigeria and Dubai. I'm sure that more than half of you will choose Dubai. I don't know if there's anybody that wants to choose Nigeria. You can put it on chat, let us know you. But I believe everybody will want to go to Dubai. For instance, Dubai built the tallest building in the world in just 5 years. But in Nigeria, we are struggling to finish the construction of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway since Obasanjo left office. We are struggling to even finish our Numan Gombe or Lafiya Lamude Road. We're struggling to even finish the Taraba Numan Road for how many years? Yeah? Dubai, they made man-made rivers and lakes, canals. Nigeria, we have these things naturally, but we can't even maintain them. You need to see our rivers, our lakes so contaminated, we can't maintain them. Nigeria has just a few functional seaports. Now, Dubai does not have these natural amenities, that doesn't have these natural amenities, built world-class man-made harbors. Dubai, a city, has 3 functional seaports, while Nigeria, a country with a state, has just about 7 seaports with just about 3 working at full capacity. Dubai does not have natural water bodies, and they have been able to build rivers, streams. Nigeria Water Corporation is struggling to supply 24 hours water supply. Many places don't even have anything called water supply. Dubai Port of Jebel Ali is the largest port in the Middle East, and it was built from scratch. It is the largest man-made harbor in the world. Dubai built the first rotating skyscraper in the world. That is, every time the building will be rotating to face a different destination, different direction. So see what Dubai has been able to do within how many years? Few years. But Nigeria, we don't have anything to show for more than 50 years of independence. Nigeria cannot even generate 24 hours water supply. Nigeria is struggling to generate 24 hours of power supply. Nigeria has one of the poorest roads in the world. Our health system is a mess. So we can't tag Nigeria as a great nation. We can't tag Nigeria as a great nation. Now, this thing that I just shared with you is similar to the experience of Singapore. We're going to be, in your program, we're going to be reviewing the book From Third World to First World. How many of you have read the book? Can I see if you have read the book, cover to cover? So we're going to be reviewing this book. If you can lay your hand on it, go and buy it. Have it in your library. This book outlines how a man and some group of people transformed Singapore to what we have today. Okay, so let's continue. Singapore in 1960 used to be worse than Nigeria. Singapore used to be one of the poverty, if you know, Nigeria is presently the poverty capital of the world. Singapore used to be among the poverty capital of the world because they had experienced a lot of civil war. They had experienced a lot of political crisis, and they were at the verge of either being colonized by China or being taken over by the closest Malaysia that was also coming up. Because they just came back from war. You know, the World War, Second World War, and even the regional war devastated the land. Singapore, a lot of people are unemployed. There was nothing like foreign investments. There's nothing like education system that is good. They have a very weak education system, very poor health system. Their housing is terrible. I want you to go and just study and check how Singapore was in 1960. They had corrupt leaders. There was no law, there was no order. And countries like China, Indonesia, and Russia, they were even about to colonize them because of, you know, it's so unstable. You understand? And you know, it used to be part of Malaysia before they cut them out of Malaysia, and then they are now struggling. So it's possible that they risked being colonized again. Are you with me, everyone? So, but something happened. The founding fathers of Singapore said, no, we can't allow this thing to be like this. So some group of people came together and they said, no, something must change. Something must change. We don't just want to do programs. Something must change. And remember what I told us in the opening thought, that every nation that is great because of the kind of people that rose up to take the responsibility to grow it. Remember we mentioned that they were great by what? By disciplined thoughts, disciplined actions, yeah? And disciplined people, character. So this is very important. We should take note of that. Now, the founding fathers of Singapore, the first thing they did when they came together was, let us set a vision for our land. Otherwise, we risk being trodden, we risk being being enslaved to another big nation. So they set a vision. What was vision? They say we want to build harmonious, peaceful, prosperous, multiracial, multireligious, social democratic society based on justice, equality, integrity, and meritocracy. Wow. Guys, if you want to transform a nation and with a vision like this, that nation cannot be anything but great. They said a harmonious, peaceful, prosperous, multiracial, multireligious. Do you get that? So, because at that time, even Singapore, the founding father is Lim Kuan Yew. He has a Chinese origin. Lim Kuan Yew can just decide to impose the Chinese culture, Chinese language, and everything on them, even the Chinese religion. But he said, no, if a nation must be great, let us make it a multiracial, multireligious nation. That is what we build. That's what we develop Nigeria. If we want to do anything that will bring Nigeria to greatness, they say a social democratic society based on justice, equality, integrity, and meritocracy. So there's no injustice anywhere. What is being done to everyone is justice. Nobody feels that I'm sidelined, I'm marginalized. No, nobody feels that even though I'm qualified, I will not be imagined. I might not get the opportunity. Every opportunity must be occupied by people that merit it. So they have to build a system that is founded on meritocracy. Today, you see a student that scores 280 in JAM, but cannot be given admission. And somebody that scored 160 is given admission. People that are excellent, that have always been excellent students, are not accessing scholarships. But it's those with connection that are accessing scholarships. Any nation that does not build its nation based on justice, equality, integrity, and meritocracy cannot emerge among the community of great nations. They decided that this thing we want to do, let's set a timeline. What was the timeline? They said, we want to build our nation and transform it from a third world nation to first, they said, in 1 generation. They said, we want to make it to be the first in 1 generation. Then they said that we want to build a nation that will be led by leaders of integrity and a corruption-free society. A disciplined, hardworking, highly educated, skilled, and productive labor. That is why many big name companies in the world, they want to have their companies or their headquarters in Singapore, because they are guaranteed that the people they will be able to get to work for them are disciplined, hardworking, highly educated, skilled, and productive labor, are productive people. Friends, I want to ask you a question. Considering what the founding fathers of Singapore set as a vision, do you think if we set it as a vision for Nigeria, Nigeria will not become a great nation? Do you also observe that these things were not done, all the developments that happened in Singapore did not happen like by accident? They were deliberate. See, intentionality is the foundation for any growth that must take place, either in your personal life or in a nation or in your company or in your business. Anybody that must effect change must be deliberate about it. you must decide that this is what I want to change, and this is how I want to go about it, and you go on with it. That is what the founding fathers of Singapore set as a vision. So look at it. They have so many. They said you want to delay gratification. In Nigeria, every young person doesn't want anything. They want anything. They want sharp money. They want sharp. I will just keep all of this since the slide will be uploaded on the website. Then they said, after we have set the vision, we need to build capacity for our nation. So they focused on what? Building industrial base. They want to make Singapore industrialized. Then they set up different things: Economic Development Board, Trade Development Board, Urban Development Authority. Then savings. They will say they want to create a place, Central Provident Fund. This is going to be a savings for Singapore. No matter how poor they are, they say they want to continue to save. Then they also want to develop their housing. Now, when they got the idea of what they want to solve, the next thing they did is to get the right people they set up the right system, and then they now got the right people for it. So you see, the first thing they did was to set a vision. The second thing they did was to put up the system. Are you getting? They set a system. There was thought in, they built the capacity of the people to fit into the system. I see a model that leaders follow for building a nation. So they built the capacity of the people so that they can get good jobs, and they can also attract foreign investment. Then they began to invest in public housing and begin to generate wealth, right? They begin to put so much on education. They built the education system. They gave out educational grants and scholarships to people that merit it. They ensure that they make everything they are doing is within a healthy, clean, green, and safe environment. Then they created a system, a general skill development fund, to ensure that people have access to grants to help them develop their skills. Guys, this is a system that is working. Then the next thing they did, right, is to invest in the people. I'm going to be talking about the categories of leaders that they invested on later on. So look at what happened to Singapore in 2013. Singapore became the 36th out of 184 countries in the world in terms of GDP, according to International Monetary Fund data. The ease of doing business, Singapore became the first out of 185 countries. The ease of doing business. This is according to World Bank data. They use 10 factors to check. So many countries, many companies want to go and do business in Singapore because of the ease of doing business that they were good at. Then they increased their global competitiveness index to what? To 2 out of 152 countries, according to the World Economic Forum data. Then they also won the least corrupt country in the world. They scored 5th. They became the 5th least corrupt country. In terms of cooperation in labor-employer relations, they won the number 1. In terms of national savings rate, they won number 6. Then they now grew. Based on all these things, the life expectancy now grew to number 10 out of 198. Then they built their education system to become the first and the best in the world. They won the best education, quality education system in the world. You see the procedure they followed to build a nation. So we are getting it, everyone, right? I'm just checking the chat. I'm excited to see some of this on the chat. So the question I want to ask all of you is this: why was Dubai and Singapore able to do this, and Nigeria is still struggling? Let me hear your questions, your response, everyone on the chat box. I have a short time left to just handle. So let me hear from you. What do you think was responsible for Dubai and Singapore's greatness and Nigeria still struggling as a third world country? Somebody say visionless founding fathers. Wow, interesting. Someone says that selfish people. He says kind of leaders we've got: bad leadership, poor leadership, bad leadership, together, corruption, lack of selfless leaders, precision. We are all to be blamed, yes, Monte Aguna says poor leadership. Someone says disunity and greed. Yeah. Someone says the African factor. Are you sure it's the African factor? Farah says we are not intentional about our goal. So Cecilia says unity, greediness. I'm reading so much here. Rampant corruption, corrupt character, corrupt action. The leaders are not faithful. Thank you very much, everyone. So let me just proceed with the session. So everything rises and falls on what? Leadership. Yesterday, Mr. Yahya explained to us that everything rises and falls on leadership. When anything is not working in any society, the people to be blamed are who? The leaders. Take note, the leaders. So leadership is the biggest problem we are having in Nigeria. And if Nigeria must move from the third world to first world, from good to great, leadership must be looked at carefully. And that is why in Lead Thoughts, we have committed all that we can to ensure that we raise a generation of great leaders that will champion growth and development in Africa. Now, Singapore, let's go back to Singapore. What kind of leadership did Singapore put into place? They put in place to grow from third world to first world in one generation. They call themselves leaders of integrity. And there were three categories of leadership competence that was expressed. Number one is the visionary leadership. They had visionaries. They were the designers. All those things I wrote down, that I showed you guys. Those were the visionaries. The visionaries, they crafted out a picture of where they want Singapore to get to in one generation. Those visionaries, they are servant leaders. They have a heart of serving. Huh? They are entrepreneurial leaders. They think big. They're able to look far. And one of them in those places were David Ben-Gurion and Lee Kuan Yew. These are the people who casted a vision. In Nigeria today, don't you think we need people to cast a new vision for Nigeria? We are struggling. Presently, as 2023 elections approach, what I'm just looking at is, I'm looking forward to someone with a vision for Nigeria. Do you observe that all those that have come up to talk about contesting for 2023 elections, none of them have come to tell us a vision. None of them has been able to give us something compelling that is worth pursuing or worth following. So Nigeria at this stage needs a visionary leader. So now we're able to cast a vision for Nigeria and says, this is what we want Nigeria to be, and this is what Nigeria should get to in the next 5 years. We want visionary leaders. Not leaders that think that occupying the position of the presidency is their turn or is their lifetime ambition, or because they have the money or they think they have the popularity to win. No, we don't want people like that. We want people who have a heart for this nation. The number two types of leaders that grew Singapore, they call them the development leaders. Wow, these guys are people that are steering the development. Like, you know, when we talk of development leaders, leaders that are, you see people that are building the structures. The visionary leaders have casted the vision. Some other people are doing what? They are trying to build it up. Some people are skilled as development leaders. They are able to put people in the right place. They're able to get things done. They call them project leaders. Let me call it like that in Nigerian term. They call them project leaders. People that, like, when we talk of project leaders in the Northeast, there are states. Maybe let me hear from you on the chat box. If from Nigeria, who are the project leaders that you think we have had so far? Let me hear from you. Who are the project leaders? People we call project leaders. And who do you think are visionary leaders? Let me hear. Go to the third one, so I just write the three, so we don't waste time. Then the third categories of leaders, they got management leaders. People who were able to manage the growth, manage the system. They are administrative by talent. Do you understand? So these are the three categories of leaders that Lim Kuan Yew and others have to identify, and they put them in the right place. So visionary leaders cast the vision. Development leaders, they put them in the position to build. Then management leaders, they put them in the position to manage the systems. Okay, Project leader, somebody say Wike, Zulum, and Kaura. Yes, that's beautiful. Let President Musa Yar'Adua, is he a project leader or is a visionary leader? I want to hear. Adamu Maazu was a project leader in Bauchi, and Ino Yaya also is a project leader in Gombe. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yar'Adua is a project leader. Yar'Adua, Zulum is a visionary. They are visionary leaders. Hel Rufai is a project leader. Okay. Professor Suleiman Bogo is who? Project leader. Yes, project leader. Okay. So Zulum keep appearing. Zulum Yar'Adua kept appearing. Then Kaura also is appearing. So we must be able to identify those kind of people. Makinde of Oyo State, project leader. Okay, Akpabio, when he was governor, he was a visionary leader. Okay, so Kaura is a project leader. Yar'Adua is a project leader. I like your views, everyone. So let's not get it twisted here. A nation that must grow like Singapore should adopt or should learn from the kind of leadership that they got in. Let me ask us a question. You can put your thoughts here later. In a country like Nigeria and the present state of our economy and development, what kind of leadership is most sought after now? Do you think Nigeria needs visionary leaders above development leaders, or Nigeria needs management leaders above visionary leaders? What kind of leadership do we need presently in Nigeria, considering the state of affairs in Nigeria? Okay, so I want to hear from you in the chat box. Somebody said we need visionary leaders. Yeah, Bashir say we need management leaders. Good. So we must be able to define the kind of leadership we need. If you observe in the training curriculum, sometime within the month, we're going to be looking at redefining the criteria for 21st century Nigerian leadership. So as 2023 election comes up, somebody who is very experienced and expert in this line, an international expert, will be sharing with you, based on the trends and data, the kind of leadership that we should seek for in 2023, and what should be the criteria for electing leaders when 2023 election comes up. Let me just proceed with my presentation. Are we together, everybody? Good. So when we talk of leaders, who are they? What is this leadership? Many of us, when I say that is leadership that can transform Nigeria from good to great, many of us just think of the president. We think of our governors because we have limited leadership to position. Meanwhile, position is the least level of leadership anybody can enter. You don't have to be qualified to become a leader. You don't have to have the best brain to become the leader. Many leaders we have in Nigeria, in Africa, are opportunists. They were never ready for what they are entering into. For instance, our president was not ready for what he was entering into. So it's not that he's not a good leader, but he was not prepared for what he was entering into. And that was why it was difficult managing the system up to date. So we must begin to define leadership. That leadership is not about Buhari. You yourself, you are a leader in your space. How are you managing your space? Why are you transforming your nation? Don't forget, people that transform nations, they did not transform it as a whole. Everybody was taking its own position and they were building it up. Go to advanced countries, they are trained, they are rails, they are industries, they were built by individuals. Do you know that some individuals are controlling economic of nations? For instance, the money that just December 20-something this year, Apple became the first nation, the first company to hit the $3 trillion share capital. One company hit $3 trillion share capital. Do you know what it means? It means that person can finance Nigerian budget for more than 100 days. You see that this is a company built by individuals. If Nigeria is to advance, the leadership must ensure that the ease of doing business is very, very high so that it can attract investors. In 2020, the first quarter of 2020, when Corona started, Zoom raised a GDP that was higher than what Nigeria was raising in 1 year. Imagine if you have many of these companies in one place, in one nation. How much do you think is the FDIs foreign direct investments that Nigeria will be getting even from other nations. Are we together? So leadership is beyond a position. You must look at leadership as a process and as a journey for every individual. So leaders are people who are able to think and act creatively in non-routine situations and who set out to influence the actions, beliefs, and feelings of others to achieve set goals. Leaders bring people together around a shared purpose and empowers them to step up and lead authentically. Why? In order to create change and value for all. And don't forget, leadership is applicable to all facets of life. Whether you're in the banking sector, you're in the agri sector, business, education, anywhere you are, leadership is applicable. Sport, leadership is applicable. When a club is not doing well, who do they fire? They fire the leaders. They don't fire the players because the coach is very important. So if Nigeria is not doing well, who should we fire? We fire the leaders. Everybody is put in place of authority. But you see, the concept of leadership is always overflowed. Every time when you talk to people, leadership, they don't understand leadership. They think it's just occupying a position and managing a system. Question I'm asking you, every one of you, what is the purpose of leadership? Let me see it on your chat box quickly. Let's take the next 1 minute. What do you think? What do you think is the purpose of leadership? What do you think is the purpose of leadership? I want to see it on your chat box. Orderliness. Someone says the leader is coming to put orderliness. Yes? Let me hear from you. Yes, I want to hear more. Okay, to impact change, to develop other leaders, to guide the people, safety, to create, to influence followers. So, thank you, service to humanity. Beautiful. So you see, all these things you have put down, they are good, but anybody can do it without being a leader. You understand? Anybody can do it without being a leader. And that is why we must come and act and tell ourselves the true meaning or purpose of leadership. For instance, the purpose of leadership is to improve the state of the people or to improve the state of things. So we must improve the state of the people or we must improve the state of things. If you find yourself in leadership position and you cannot improve the state of people or things, you are not yet leading. So the question is, what is it that drives a leader to improve the state of the people or things? What drives a leader to do that? I have 3 or 4 things I want to mention to you. Number 1, leaders are restless. Restlessness is one of the reasons why leaders do extraordinary. Leaders they are restless. They are restless. The very essence of leadership is that you have to have a vision. It's got to be a vision you articulate clearly and forcefully on every occasion. So that is the nature of leadership. Question, what makes leaders restless? They are restless about the poor condition of people or the society against a compelling vision. For instance, when you see a place like this, are you restless? That's the question you should be asking yourself. Many of us will go through a road like this and nothing changes. A true leader is restless. He's always thinking, how can I improve the state of this road? What can I do to make this place better? You get to a place, you see something not working the way you desire to be. That's restlessness. You are restless. You're sleeping, you can't sleep. You're thinking, you're reading, you're just thinking of how you can make things better for your community or for the nation. The kind of leaders we need in Nigeria are leaders that are restless about things that are not correct. They are obsessed with ideas of how to transform and improve the state of the people. You know, when they say somebody is obsessed, obsessed means you are addicted, you are, oh, can somebody help me with the right word for obsessed? Like, you're sick. You're sick with you're just consumed with something. Do you understand? So leaders that are going to effect change are leaders that are consumed with a passion to change something or to make things better. Then the third thing is they are actively organizing expertise and resources. Do you see it from Singapore story? in organizing people, they're organizing resources to ensure that the state of things are improving. Are we together, everyone? Then the last one is that everything they do is based on ethical and moral standards. Restless leaders are visionaries. They are visionaries. There is nothing more demoralizing than a leader who can't clearly articulate why we are doing what we're doing, according to James and Barry. You understand? So there's nothing more demoralizing than a leader who can't clearly articulate why. They ask you as a leader, why are you doing this? What are you building this? But you can't tell people. Do you know that your ability to tell people your vision and convince them is very important as a leader? I will not want to talk about vision so much, but because of time, a leader is someone who has a clear vision and a competence to organize people and the resources to achieve a set goals within ethical, universal ethics. So when we come back to the story of Singapore and Dubai, you realize that leadership played a big role. For instance, in Dubai, you talk of persons like Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid of Dubai. This was the visionary man that transformed Dubai. It transformed Dubai. We'll not talk much because I have just about 5 minutes to round up this session. So this is a question I would want to ask you. If God were to send you a text message hinting that Nigeria would go back in time by 20 years and that you are going to be responsible for recreating Nigeria, you have to submit a 1-paragraph note on what Nigeria will become after you are done in 20 years. What will you write? This question, I'm going to be typing it on the group and then we're going to be responding to it individually. So if God were to send you a text and saying, Nigeria will go back in time by 20 years, like my Oga will always say, that I wish that you can go back by 7 to become 25 or 17. And there are so many things he's going to do better. So imagine that God is telling you that Nigeria will go backward 17 years and you go backward 20 years. You have to now craft a vision for Nigeria. What will you do? So take note of that. So as I round up this session, it's important I tell you a way you can emerge as an individual. Because leadership is all about those at the top. You begin to see yourself in the leadership position and also take up the responsibility of transforming the nation. Number one, you have to choose your values. Many of us, we don't have values. We are not honest. We are not law-abiding. Can you choose your values? Whether somebody is there or not, these are the ethical standards that you're going to be living with. We need people like that to transform this nation. Anybody that is cutting corner cannot take Nigeria forward. Build self-confidence as an individual. People with high self-awareness, they pursue greater dreams and goals. If your vision is just to get married and sit in your father's house or your husband's house, your vision is not worth pursuing. Your vision can't transform this nation. Your vision must go beyond. So if you understand the kind of thing God has put inside of you, you will not pursue small dreams. Many of us are not going to politics because we think that it's too big a dream to imagine. No. Why can't you go there? So if you understand that you have what it takes to transform this nation, pursue big dreams. Go after big things. Don't go after small things, little things. Then engage time. Engage time. Many of us are wasting our time on social media, watching Nigerian movies. Then the next thing is you should dare to think. Many of you are not thinking. You need to be a thinker. Nigeria, see, people that transform the nations, they are thinkers. They got people that are thinkers. We need people that think. If you look at the economic team, do you think they are thinking enough? If you look at the education team, do you think they are thinking enough? So we need to think. Then we need to seek knowledge. Pay for information. Many of you are not paying for information. You don't pay for information. Many of you, this training, for instance, the cost of bringing this training to you is taking us at least 120,000 naira per person. Because we have to set up many things, pay different people to get this training done. Imagine if you are to pay for this training. Do you think you can actually pay? Many of us, we are not seeking knowledge. You must pay money for knowledge. I saw a post on someone's status this morning. He said, you have 3 currencies: time, money, and knowledge. He says these 3, you can use it to transact anything in the world and become great. See, you must pay for knowledge. Many of us, we are looking for free knowledge everywhere. You go for training, you want them to pay you. Spend money and go and train yourself. Become better. How do you want to become? You want to become a minister, a commissioner, but you don't have what it takes. Your thinking is still low. Come on, you still think about food. That is why the wrong people are there. We're interfacing with some House of Assembly members. What are your achievements in the last 2 years? And he was talking about the number of girls that he paid money for wedding, for the kayan. You understand? We have gone beyond that level now. So if you don't develop yourself, that's the same level of thinking that you'll be having. Then you should understand the global agenda. See, Nigeria needs to be relevant even in the Community of Nations. Why do you think USA is great? Yes, they are great not because of their system already. Of course, they have the system. But what makes USA great is because of their international relevance. So as an individual, you must understand the agenda. For instance, the world is talking about climate change. If you want to do something excellent, take advantage of the global agenda. By now, you should not be legislating. You should not be legislating that we should continue to invest money on oil when the world is moving away from oil to renewable resources. If you don't understand the global agenda, that's the kind of thing you'll be doing. Legislating that we should cut trees and get firewood as souvenirs for people. Charcoal as campaign souvenirs. If you understand the global agenda, you will not be thinking that way. So how do you understand global agenda? Follow the world news. Follow global trends. Join global communities. Many of you, the only community you have is your community in your church or in your mosque or in your school. There are global community of practices where you share knowledge. Like what we are creating for you in the Youth Civic Engagement Program. We are creating for you a community of practice where you share like minds with people. You have people that have gone through similar training and are thinking the same way you're thinking. That is the best way you can maximize this training. So also look for other trainings and participate. Like one of the things you'll be doing will be exposing you, will be releasing to you opportunities for you to participate in many other trainings. So take note of these things. Desire excellence. We need to stop the idea of mediocrity. Meritocracy is what built Singapore. Anybody that is qualified for something, give him. Because that's the way you can get. See, when you go through that book I told you of, you see what Singapore, you say, we went outside this nation to scout for the best heads that can manage the different sectors so they can develop it. One man that did well in that is Obasanjo. Obasanjo went outside, went different places to get the best young minds. Look at them. It was so Obasanjo who got to know Nasiru El-Rufai. It was through him we got to know Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. Through him we knew people like Frank Iweke Jr. We knew Charles Soludo. We knew Dr. Dora Akunyili. We knew Ngozi Nwela. So take note of all of these things because this is very, very crucial for you, right? So the power of, you need to desire excellence. Desire excellence. Be an inventor. Very important to be an inventor, right? Then you take actions. You should be involved in social activities that promote just causes. If you don't emerge, some people else will emerge. And that's the problem we're having. So stop looking at yourself as though you are so low, you can't do anything. You must keep investing in yourself until you emerge. I have so many people to talk to you about, but in rounding up, the world is changing. The world is emerging. Everything is shifting, even nature. Only those who change along with it shall survive. Only the unique folks, visionary leaders shall emerge to rule in this new world. I urge all of you to pick up the challenge of leading. Thank you very much, everyone. I think I will just round up here. Thank you. If anybody have any question, maybe Elam is over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheldon. Thank you for that wonderful and great session. Please, I would like to ask the participants to send in your questions through the chat forum. I would like to call on our next facilitator. He actually has a busy schedule and we're privileged to have him around. I would like to immediately call on Honorable Dr. Simon Karu to continue the facilitation. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome. Hello. Sir, you can unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, I just did. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good to see you.
Afternoon, sir.
You have to
Can unmute
pardon me
yourself,
a bit. Yeah, I just did. I had to mute myself again because I needed to say something privately in my office. So good afternoon, everyone, and I'm pleased to join you in today's session. And I count it a rare privilege to be one of your speakers. It's been quite some time since I participated in the Lead Thoughts activities. And it's indeed a privilege for me to share some insights about yourselves, our country, and myself as well. And it is so strategic for you guys at this moment that I am speaking with you from an exalted office of a member of the National Assembly. I will not feel capacitated to share and have some time with you today if I had not been able to achieve the dream of being an honorable member of the National Assembly today. And just as participants that you are today, Lead Thought started in 2019. It was conceived sometimes in 2012. And today you're participants of a program that is being facilitated by Lead Thoughts. It's one of the ideas that I actually incubated, and I'm so excited that it is a reality today. One of the founding dreams behind Lead Thoughts is to raise leaders, to be able to build capacity of young people to emerge into leadership positions. And I'm so happy and I feel fulfilled that there are no fewer than 80 persons on this platform today here to listen and have conversations with me on our dear country, Nigeria. And in the last 9 years, the achievements of Lead Thoughts have given me so much joy and fulfillment. And you know what? We haven't started yet because I look forward to completing the state-of-the-art Youth Leadership Center in Gombe, in Tula, where I will host and breed Nigeria's generational leaders from all over the country. That's actually my vision, to ensure that we have an institution that prepares young people to emerge as leaders. So without so much conversations over the Lead Thoughts, I thought initially that I was going to have a session to facilitate and talk to you the regular way. But I decided to change my mind about an hour ago, immediately when I left the chambers. And I had to leave chambers and session to come and attend to you guys. And so I feel that I should be the person that I am. They call me coach. And indeed, I'm going to do a coaching session today. So rather than taking a lecture, giving you a lecture about the topic, I'll rather ask you questions on what you think about the topic. So I'd like to see the first person who will ask the question or who will respond to the question about the topic. Yeah, I think the moderator should moderate.
Okay, sir. Okay, do we have questions? I like this session. It's going to be very engaging. So if you have a question, Sheun, I think you should help us so that they can be able to unmute themselves. Then you can raise up your hands, then we'll give you the opportunity to ask your questions. And that's how we go. Okay, I am seeing Aminu Muhammad. Aminu Muhammad, can you unmute yourself?
My name is Amin Muhammad Bello from Gombe State. I feel at home and I feel honored by the presence of one of our members, a youth actively participating in politics and good governance in Gombe State and in Nigeria. My participation in this method is very interesting, and my question goes for sorry, the presenter said he wants to be more coaching session than lecture, so at least we can all participate. So my own contribution knowledge about the topic is that nation building encompasses some key elements of leadership, which we can prioritize into inclusive leadership, sympathetic leadership, empathetic leadership, in which a leader who carries out all the activities together with his subordinates will have the ability to transform and build a nation.
Your network is breaking.
The youth.
Hello? Your network is breaking.
So, hello?
Your network is breaking. Can you come again?
So that's okay. I said my own contribution to knowledge about the topic our very own honorable is going to talk is that nation building encompasses elements of good leadership, governance, and then the sacrifice, because the law of sacrifice has to.
What's your question?
So a good leader is about all the activities from the I think like the presenter said, like he wants to learn. Hello? Like the presenter said, he wants to learn about our own perception or questions about the topic. So my own question is, with the fact that mostly our critics are saying the youth building, so how do we achieve that at a level of at the community level, without the fact that some of us says that we need to have resources in order to invest in this kind of activities? So without in like a low resource, low income generation, or let me say low resource community, how do we achieve this peace and the nation?
We can't get you. So can we get another person? You can please type in your question. We will respond to you as soon as possible.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon, Ariel Magui. Okay. Welcome. Ask your question, please. Thank you.
Okay, can we just take the chats going, because people's network is poor. It will end up delaying it, so maybe don't just put their questions on chat. Sorry for that.
Yeah, thank you,
sir. Just put their message on chat.
I think you can mute everybody so that they can raise up your hand, then type your question. We will get back to you.
I think there are some questions on the chat box already. So we can just
What,
have you seen any, sir? Have you seen any, sir? Somebody
what I think you should do is that
did you see that?
Yeah, I have. I can't see the questions because
Okay.
it went off a bit.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, because all I can see is
you.
I can't hear you. I just typed, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me read it out. How can we take over the leadership of this country? Assuming we now have these 3 categories of leadership. Okay. I think this question is more concerning my session. Question. In a situation where the zeal to make the world a better place is there in me, but along the run, I'm discouraged by relatives, parents, and friends. As a young Nigerian, do I still have hope to complete my vision? How? Despite the family encouragement. That's to you, sir.
Okay, what I think, there's someone, is it Malgui, who has been able to repost that. So, and then, so what I think we should do, let's repost it so that I can start with these few questions. The first question is from Farah Praise. Okay, and the question is, what are the steps you took in developing yourself and getting to the height you are now? So that's question 1. I'm going to take that as question 1. And then I'm going to take the next question from Malgui. In a situation, that's the question you just raised. As a young guy still, so I'm going to take these few questions. I also have a question from Jamila, asking, am I right? Yes. What are the members of National Assembly doing on the present education system in Nigeria? Of course, we know education is very important to a nation we will find. So I'm going to work on the first 3 questions. The first one is about what step I actually took. So the topic for today is mindset for national development. And when we talk about national development, we talk about an encompassing venture, which is not a matter of development of Tula or development of Gombe or development of a particular tribe or section in Nigeria or the development of Lagos. We're talking about mindset for national development. What it means is that we must have a wide scope. We must have a mindset that is broad enough. And we must be able to understand different perspectives, because people come with different perspectives, which you can call people, which you can say mindset. People come with different mindsets. So permit me to use the word perspective or perception as it may warrant subsequently. So as the mindset for national development, you need to be broad and you need to be very flexible in accepting and accommodating other people within your space. Because for any national development, people must intrude into your own spaces. So I'm gonna go with the question, the first question, what steps did you have to take? So for me as a young boy, what I had from the beginning was I had a dream. I had a vision. Vision is an essential tool or an essential phenomenon to drive people from point A to point B. It is that desire from within you that makes you move. It is the desire that you have to be able to change locations. So as a young person, I had a vision of being part of Nigeria's leadership. And I had to begin to narrow it down to my current status then. I had to imagine where I was and what I needed to do as a young person to be part of Nigeria's leadership. To an extent, part of that dream has been achieved because today I sit as one of the few Nigerians who determine certain things about the country. And it all started where you guys are currently, or where you guys had just left, because you must have taken some steps already. My desire started right from primary school. And let me share a bit of my primary school desire. While I was in primary 5, I had a desire to be a prefect. Unfortunately, I wasn't. In secondary school, I had a desire to be a prefect, a house captain. I almost became one, but I lost it. But it still did not change my desire for leadership. After that, after secondary school, I was privileged to join a nonprofit organization at a community level. And that was when I had a first major election or an appointment, however we put it, as a proton secretary of a youth club. That gave me so much joy, and it ushered me into the space of leadership. According to the 5 levels of leadership written by John Maxwell, I found position as an introduction to leadership. It doesn't necessarily mean leadership. So it was at the invitation of such a position as a secretary of a youth club that I began to understand that leadership actually starts within the person, not from the position that you actually carry. So I stepped into the office of a youth club secretary when I was imagining that everything will have to respond to me and come to me. Then I began the journey of leadership, understanding that as a leader, you follow the course. The course doesn't follow you, you follow it. Because at all costs, what is most important for a leader is to understand how to manage people and the context that people actually come with. So I began by joining the youth and participating in the leadership of the youth club. And from the youth club secretary, based on my involvement, I automatically became the youth club president. And when it was time, I became the zonal youth president of the YMCA. So it was first at a micro level, at an organic level, a small youth club that didn't have so much trouble. In fact, it was voluntary. So I suffered as a youth club president, then an opportunity to become the zonal youth president, which comprised of 13 other youth clubs. Then I was just in one club, and then an opportunity came that I had to participate in the election at the zonal level. It was when I was elected the zonal youth president, then I was ushered into a bigger world. From the beginning, I was just within Bauchi, and then later on, I became a zonal youth president that comprises of 13 other YMCAs from 6 different states. Then I began to understand perceptions of people, mindsets of people from different parts of northern Nigeria. That encouraged me and created a niche for me to understanding young people and the dynamics of their problems, their interests, their issues, what concerns them, and what drives them. At that point, I left for NYC. In my NYC, I had the opportunity of meeting other people from the other side of the world because I did my NYC in Rivers. And I participated in an NYC club, which is the Road Safety Club. And it exposed me to different parts of the mindset of people nationally. So fast forward that, all my interests and the steps I took, I volunteered to be part of leadership. I was more interested in understanding the dynamics of leadership rather than the affluence and the influence, and you can add it, the benefit that comes with leadership. It was never my interest. My interest was an opportunity to serve voluntarily, to give in my best, and to make sure that I make a difference in every little position I was given. I told you I was a youth club secretary. The Student Association Secretary General. I had the opportunity to become, now this is something very important. I had an opportunity to become president of Gombe State Student Association. But there was a chaos, there was a crisis, there was a political crisis about section, the Tangale Wajab students and also the Fulani students of Gombe State. And I was going to be sponsored as the president from Tangale Wajab. And I said, no, if we want to bring the Fulani back into the Gosa, can we extend the opportunity to give them the leadership? I can be a secretary general so that next year we can take over as Tangale Wajab and continue the leadership on that part. So I was the one who brokered the peace. So you see, one thing is that you must understand the dynamics of the issues and interests of people. And two, you must be willing to make sacrifices. You must commit yourself to making sacrifices for the general interests, not for an ethnic or a sectional interest, but for a whole, an interest of the whole. So I think I've been able to touch the basics of the steps that I took. I had to really engage people. First of all, commit myself to voluntary service. and then make the sacrifices to grow in understanding the dynamics of people and in leadership. So fast forward to my election, to where I became a member of the National Assembly. The little things I did from my primary school, secondary school, Federal Polytechnic, NYC, and my involvement in the YMC and other political platforms within the young people gave me credits when I ventured into politics, and everybody said, yes, we know him. He's committed. He does that. He did that, and so on. People will begin to bring to bear your attributes and your antecedents. And one thing that I must tell you that is very important, what is very important in leadership and getting to where I am politically, that is greater than money, is called goodwill assets. Goodwill asset. So never undermine goodwill as a very potential and most effective asset or tool in climbing up ladder in terms of leadership. So I think I have dwelt so much on this question, the steps that has taken me to where I am. And so I'm going to look at in a situation where the zeal to make the world a better place is there in me, but along the run, I am discouraged by relative parents. It's a daily thing. In fact, it's not just parents, even you fight with yourself actually. You fight with yourself daily. The things you want to do and the things you cannot do because of what you want to be and where you want to be. For example, today I'm a member of the National Assembly. It is not enough. It's not enough to change a place. The further you go, the wider it becomes. So it's just like somebody who wants to explore the ocean. You must first leave sight of the shore. Otherwise, you never can explore the ocean. So changing or making the world a better place really begins with you. The most important person to change about this world is you. A lot of people make the mistake that I want to make Nigeria a better place. I want to make Africa a better place. How well have you been able to make yourself better? If you are better, it's a micro thing. It's an organic thing. They're able to influence you. I committed myself into development work, myself and my family. And by action, I've been able of Ashira, who is also at the background here, will not commit energy, resources, even in my absence, to ensure that the vision we all have in building capacities of young people grows. They will not do that. So what is important for you, regardless of the circumstances, those obstacles actually come to shape you. They actually come to prepare you, to actually question you. Are you ready for this goal? So never think that because you are committed to making the world a better place, everything falls into place. No. Now you must be able to harness the energy in the planet, pull human resources together, and put the world resources together. You must be able to harness, be able to listen. Everybody has a voice. Even when people do not speak, they have a voice. So do not feel discouraged. Discouragement is part of the tools that comes to test you. It is your ability to overcome those discouragements that makes you who you are. I was discouraged never to run for the office of National Assembly. I did. Today, my name is in gold. I'm a member of the National Assembly and push bills and speak about issues at the national level. So when you come across the rock, hit it. Don't be afraid to take chances and don't be afraid to dare. I had in part of your last session, you must have a big dream, a very big dream. What will make a small boy who has not even traveled out of Bauchi yet imagine that he wants to be at the center of leadership affairs in Nigeria, to be part of the leadership of Nigeria? Some 20, 25 years ago, or rather 25, 30 years ago. Today I am. But ask me the story, how did I get here? A lot. So when you see those discouragements, go back to your vision and inspire yourself. It is important for you to have your vision written so that it reminds you daily that you have a target somewhere. Lots of things I want to do. There are lots of things that have discouraged me in the past. If I had yielded to them, I wouldn't be here. Carry on. So what are the steps you took in developing yourself to get to the heights you are? I think I've responded to this question. My question is, what are the members of the National Assembly doing? Well, the issue concerns has been there for decades, and we need some radical leaders to turn around events. It is really unfortunate, really, really unfortunate that young Nigerians are not given the adequate environment and the space to learn. And this consistent and persistent strike actions is one of the weapons that is being targeted at Nigeria to destroy it from within, not from outside. So, the management of those institutions rest in the hands of the executive powers. Ours is to do oversights and make laws, of which we have done that countlessly. We have invited the leadership of the Universities Commission, the polytechnics, colleges of association, and even the labor minister to discuss possibilities to end this lingering crisis. But I think I'll put it as a challenge to you as a young Nigerian. Maybe part of the vision you will develop is to see that you become part of those who create a lasting solution to the educational sector in Nigeria. Nigeria has a lot of opportunities for young people to desire vision and drive towards it. So I want to know what sacrifice it will take to be part of the nation building, carrying others along. I think, like I said, start with your immediate environment. What is the problem in your community? What is the problem around you? Create solutions. When you create solutions, it puts you on the limelight. Okay? So thank you for making this session. We are grateful. My question goes like this. Based on your proven track record of performances and disposition in the humanitarian services, how do you explain the myopic view that we need much resources to get the peace and national development, especially in a low-income community? Well, I don't think I understand this question very well, but I think Nigeria has all the resources that is required to build a nation that we desire. And that's the people. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much mineral resources you have, if you don't have people to drive it and manage people, it will not go anywhere. Just imagine a bush and then go to some cities around the world and see the difference between how a forest and a bush looks like and how a green lawn or a green plantation looks like when it is organized, looking very beautiful. So whatever we want to make of Nigeria, there must be somebody who envisions it. There must be somebody who carries it from within him. So what I want to share with you, I think it's Aminu Bello. It is you. What is required is you. So I call on you to design your own vision about Nigeria. What component of Nigeria do you want to see change? Nigeria will not change as a whole if we do not take the bits and pieces and the different parts of Nigeria to make it what we desire to see it. But don't forget, the rocks and the discouragements, the sharks and the potholes are there to try to stop you. What makes you successful and will help you put your name in goal is your ability to withstand all those issues. So there's Melody here with a question. Since we all know that Nigerian problem is leadership, what can we do as Nigerian to fix the right people? Let me be taking two questions. How do one as a leader balance himself with visions and ideas towards society that of the diverse expectations of the teams and followers? Yeah, I'm going to take Melody and Bathsheba together. That's now the big problem. But identifying a problem is a problem half solved. If we understand that Nigeria's problem is leadership, then we should build more leaders, raise more leaders. And that's why you're part of this program. If we can continue to build more leaders, it may look very insignificant from the beginning, but over time, you will succeed. Even if it takes us 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we must get started. America's democracy started in one day. Today, it is about 300 years old and it's still running. So what is important for us is to get started. And For us to understand that our problem is leadership, then let us talk about leadership every day until we begin to see the change. We don't plant trees today and harvest them tomorrow. Big trees live for centuries, and we must build vision and dreams that will last for centuries. And that is what will make Nigeria take its rightful place. And I think it starts from the next election, getting it better. Basheva's question is balances our own vision. Like I told you, the balances we have to make is a general, I think it's a given. As a laws, I don't know if you still do that because it's a very essential component of leadership, where you learn, I think one of the laws says secure leaders give power to others. We must be able to identify potentials in others and give them the space to grow. That reduces tension and creates confidence that you're able to build with other people. So to encourage you on that part, you have, as a leader, you have to accommodate everyone and find a place of balance and not, how do I put it, not taking weight or not losing the value of your essence or significance to being accommodated. In a country like Nigeria, that obviously you need to know someone before you can be given an opportunity. Well, who is this guy? Nanyak Andrew Nandan. I'm sorry, it's not very true. I became a member of the National Assembly without a godfather. So though it is exceptional, but don't always believe that you have to know somebody. You already know somebody. Somebody created you, God. So there's a God as a godfather, and God is the biggest godfather. So I will encourage you to search within you, and you are a creation of God. Find within you what you created for. What on earth were you created for? Find your vision from within. Walk through it. You will achieve a great level of success if you put God first. Not that you want God to turn around at once. No, there are lots of obstacles you go through, but then be a believer of Nigeria. I'm a firm believer that Nigeria will get better. I'm confident about that. So my question is from the just concluded section, based on those three characteristics, is there a way or where we have to begin? This is not my question. I think they will respond to you. John Maxwell says leadership is not about position, but disposition. Question, why is the leaders today want the position instead of disposition? When will the time for young people? The time is now. Who is this? Mikoko Sukuku. The time is now. The time, what do you call it? The time for youth leadership is now. I like what a speaker said in the program. When a young, I think it was Sanusi Lamido, when a young Nigerian gave the statistics that more than 50% of Nigerian voters are young people. And he said, then why are you joining other parties? Form your party and win elections. You have more than 50% votes, and you're wasting time. We must be able to identify what the true problem is. So for me, I think the time is now for youth leadership. Time is now. We must get involved, but we must get the right value, the right sense of identity, and the right cause. A lot of people venture into leadership without the right cause. They either venture into leadership to make money or to become popular. Let me put it this way, I don't want to be popular for being loved. I want to be popular for doing what is expected to be done, for following my vision and establishing it. I want to be very unpopular for being loved. I don't want everybody to love me. So a leader must understand that a leader is not always loved, but a leader is always understood. And a leader must be able to deliver the objectives of his leadership. That's what is key. So I don't believe that we have to wait for some time to become who we want to be. What are the challenges you face presently as a member of the National Assembly towards nation building, having known? Well, somebody has said it, there is an existing cabal, like you always say, there is an existing group of people whom we must manage them until they exit. Then we usher the new and fresh air of young people that can take over. So I think it's an everyday challenge. And part of understanding them could lead me into very difficult circumstances. And what shapes me to be the kind of leader that I desire to be? Moments, those difficult times. Those times when the same people you're fighting for insult you and abuse you and call you names. And say Bazaka and so on. It's part of the cross you carry for young people. So while you're struggling to make development and create development for people, others are saying, give me money. And when you give them money, ask them the question, what have they been able to use the money for? Tomorrow they come back for the same money. So I think it's not just the people up there, but also the people down there. With your guidance, we will be there one day. Thank you. So why is leadership limited to old only Nigeria? It's not true. It's not true. Leadership is not limited to old Madam Joy Joshua. It is not. We must dare to pick up the challenge and stand out. Quick question, sir. Is there any hope for a better change of Nigeria? Yes. Yes. I'm a firm believer that Nigeria will get better, and I'm confident, not far away from now. My people start as good leaders and end otherwise. How can you stay your course even after you ascend the peak of leadership? Is it possible to maintain that same old dream and vision? For Peter Obert, my vision is written in my room. It has been written for almost 20 years. I've been updating it and I still have it written in my room. So my vision greets me every day. My vision reminds me all the time, this is what I want to be. And this is what I want to be. So I tell people, I want to be as a principal. If it means poor, but principled and outstanding Nigerian politician. But I would rather be remembered as a principled, outstanding, and very effective politician than to be remembered as a very rich, useless Nigerian politician. So if I want to be principled, I want to be loved. But what is important is you stay course to your written vision and work towards it. It's very possible to die. Abraham Lincoln was able to stick to his principles. And even our own, what do you call him? Nelson Mandela was remembered as very principled. So I want to take what's the plight of one good leader, legislator among all corrupt legislators in trying to stand tall and not join them on the obvious, on their, well, it depends on what you call selfish agenda. Those guys are not selfish. They could be selfish in our own perspective, but they're not. What I want to tell you about those people we see and we call them names, they came with an agenda because you didn't have an agenda. So they came with theirs. And because they came to trade and you were not there to do the trading, theirs took over. So we must mobilize young people to come with agenda, constructive agenda that will outweigh their own selfish agenda. So I don't believe there's any legislator here who has a selfish agenda. He came with his own agenda. He spent money, gave people money to vote for him. They voted for him, so he comes here to recoup his money. So who is to be blamed? Him or the electorate? Him or the electorate? So I don't call him a selfish. He's just a tanker swani. He has come to trade. He gave you money, he took the office. Projects and development that he's supposed to take to you people, he took it to his house. He built businesses. So the last question here, does your family social class influence your elevation being a national? For me as an individual, yes, it might have contributed because I can't say no to it. My father was a first graduate from my village and he ventured into politics at some point. So it also made some difference on that. However, Nelson Mandela didn't have a rich father. Mahatma Gandhi didn't have a rich father. Abraham Lincoln, he was not even in good terms with his father because his mother died early. So your birth or social background does not determine where you go to in life. So who was Yaradua's grandfather? Who was what do you call him? Osibanjo's parents were nobodies. His wife is a daughter to somebody else. But what about Goodluck Jonathan? What about Obasanjo? So you have to start somewhere. So do not depend on your family, friends, or influence to make you somebody in future. It could be a contributing factor, but not an absolute. Where people you are fighting for as a leader does not see the effort you have, most of the people in the top don't agree with you. How do you convince them? Well, sometimes you need to check and find out, are you actually carrying the true vision? Because not all accusations are wrong. So sometimes you need to check yourself and do some adjustments. Okay? So for example, I know people have been insulting me and calling me names that I don't share money, that I have been doing projects and so on. That's what the people want. So I have to balance it. So I have to create an avenue where, okay, I do 2 projects, I share some money too. Create a platform where I also give people what they want. That is what keeps you politically. Otherwise, you will go into extinction. You have to balance the objective and the desires of the people, not because their desires outweighs the objective, but because that is what politics entails. Okay. All right. I think I've taken enough questions, and nobody seems to be dropping questions. And we also need to be smart. It's 3 o'clock already. I'll take the next 15 minutes to sir, is election rally really free and fair, or does the masses say really counts? Well, I don't know, but 2019 in my constituency, it was free and fair. And otherwise, I wouldn't have been in the National Assembly. That election in my constituency was fair and was free. So I do not know about other elections, and it would be good if I talk about what I know and what I've experienced. So it is possible to have free and fair elections in Nigeria, and we're getting there. With the new electoral acts being signed, we will get there. Well, Obida Obed, how well are you ready to go through the process of leadership? I tell a lot of people that go and study books, go and get involved somewhere. Don't wait for somebody to hold your hands to take you somewhere. If I hold your hands, I'll make you me. And you cannot be me, you have to be you. So for me, my only encouragement for you is to give you this statement. When the student is ready, the teacher is there. It doesn't have to be one particular teacher, but when the student is ready, the teacher is there. Be it management or leadership, politics is key. You play politics in your office, you play politics at home, so politics is relevant. So it depends on how you define the dynamic, that group or that unit of human existence. Be it, is it a family unit, is it a group unit, is it an organization, or is it in national politics? You must have an open mind. Damut Victor, you must have an open mind. You must dare big, but have an open mind. You must be flexible. So I wouldn't be teaching you step by steps. I'd rather be telling you stories. I'd rather cite examples about people. So Damut, what I would want to recommend to you is that ask yourself, who is, or rather, is Damut, can you unmute Damut? Because I want to ask Damut to use him in a coaching session and hear what Damut will say. Please unmute Damut. Yeah, let Damut tell us
You can unmute
who
yourself.
are his 3, who are your 3 most admired mentors in the world?
I think he's unmuted.
Or who are your 3 most revered leaders in the world? The people you respect as leaders in the world. Who, name them, just type 3 of them. So maybe just mute him, let him write. Let Damut write 3 of his most respected leaders in the world. Let him write them. Let us see it on the chart. Okay, so at this point, since I have not been able to see any response, at this point, I want to draw the curtains here and maybe give the moderator to tell us if there are 2 or 3 persons who have something to talk about. Let me respond to Peace. Jonathan, what do you think about the rejection bills for special seats for women in the parliament? How well do you think women stand for each other? I think the most important place of this question is to actually ask, how well do women stand for each other? Rather than taking a bill to the National Assembly and then it's being rejected. We need to start with the women, the elites who are actually there. How well do women actually sit or stand for each other? When we're able to manage that, then a woman can achieve anything in the Constitution, and she can succeed by bringing any constitutional development to the Constitution. So Peace. Well, praise, or what do you call yourself? Your dean is in a transient status in your life. Your dean will not always be on top of you. Learn the dynamics of those who will stop us, who will be stoppers in your life and the naysayers in your life until you get to where you're going to. So do not listen to those who stop you at some point. Have your vision, work towards it. It will end up driving you. You will have to design it, but once you get into it, it drives you. So don't look at your dean as a limitation. He's just one aspect of your life. No matter how long you stay in school, it can't be more than 10 years. And you have the rest of the time in your world. So build your vision beyond school politics. All right, Damut has said. So how, Damut, tell us, have you read Goodluck Jonathan's biography, or Nelson Mandela's biography, or George Walker Bush's biography? If you have not read any of their biographies, then you will not understand what they went through to become the person you admire today. I am privileged to have read Nelson Mandela's biography. He's one of the people I admire. I haven't read George Bush, I haven't read Goodluck. So the best way for you to understand how you influence yourself into leadership is by understanding what your own mentors or what your people you admire actually went through in life. Nelson Mandela went through a lot. He made me understand that he was human. And I was able to understand that it is possible to be a Nelson Mandela. So go and read about Goodluck Jonathan, find his biography, study it. Your life will change. Read that of Nelson Mandela and that of Walker Bush. It helps influence your decisions as you go into leadership. How well should a leader take feedback from people? It depends on what kind of feedback. There are times I tell people, I'm talking to Samuel Adeshola. There are times I tell people who come with negative energy to me that they should stop it. I don't want to listen to them, even if it's my wife. Even if it is my wife. So yes, listen, be flexible and entertain people. But then there's a level of negative energy you should not take. because it can intoxicate you and make you feel negative. So yes, you should be open, but find a place of balance. You remember, permit me to use a biblical reference, when Christ had to tell his own disciple, get thee behind me, Satan. Was he Satan? No. He was coming with too much negative energy and he said, get thee behind me, Satan. Okay? Yeah. So, moderator, let me have 2 or 3 comments from people and then I wrap up. I need to get to another meeting.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sir. We are glad to have you. Can we get 2 people to, if you have any question for the Honorable, you can as well unmute yourself to ask your question.
There are 2 hands already, so we can just pick those 2 hands.
Okay, sir. Okay. Ame Benjamin, can you unmute yourself? Ame Benjamin, are you there? Okay. Now,
network.
Okay, so can we take Naya Andrew? You can unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah,
Good
Afternoon.
Hi, sir. Thanks for your time, and it was really interesting following from you on the fact that, yes, you actually look very young, so I also see you as a youth in interesting that, yes, you have been presented to the Heads of Affairs in the National Assembly. We had a discussion earlier on the issues of the basic some qualities rather that a leader should have. Basic qualities that a leader should have. We talked about visionary leadership, like that of Yaradua, that he had the vision 2020 before he died, and all of those things. Talk about project leadership and all of that. Now, I want to ask, like, we're not disputing the place of, okay, we talked about reading too, that people should read, and basically you want to read, they said leaders are readers. So if you don't read, you should not even want to say, okay, you want to read and stuff like that. Then I want
Can you go to the question because of time? Just go to the question.
The possibility of imbibing in you all the basic tenets of that leadership, or it must be one, must it be visionary and stand to it, be a project leader, stand to it, or you can have a thought of all as a leader. I don't know if you hello? Hello?
Yeah, I don't think I got the question very well.
Is it a thing of possibility?
I got it as a comment.
Okay, I said, is it a thing of possibility to have a touch of all qualities of a leader? Maybe have a touch of visionary, touch of project leadership, touch of like all the qualities that a leader should have, which just pick on one and be a perfect leader of this strategic quality as a leader.
Okay, Mr. Simon, I think he is linking it from the first presentation that we had. During the session, I told them of 3
okay,
classes of leaders.
I can respond it. I can respond a bit of it.
Beautiful.
From the context I heard from. Yeah. In leadership, the word leadership talks about a leader and a sheep. You must not have everything. If you go back to the 4th principle or the 4th law in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, it talks about navigation. And what is important for a leader is to be able to have that navigating skills, to understand who is better in this, who is better in that, who is better in so and so and so. Then put him ahead. There are times that, for example, there were times that I had to call Yahaya, who is one of the executive directors under Lead Talks. I would say, Yahaya, take a session on this. You go there and represent me. Because to the best of my knowledge, Yahya will deliver there better than me. But does that take away my leadership over Yahya? No. You must be able to identify people who have potentials with different skills and identify them for specific tasks. So yes, you must have a team building spirit, put up a team to be able to take different roles at different times. So the context at which Seun understood your question, I'm sure he's going to respond to you based on that.
Thank you very much.
So I have 2 minutes. If there's one more, if there's another person, otherwise I will take my leave after 2 minutes.
Okay. Can we take Jamil Bashir Balarabe? Unmute yourself and ask your question. Jamil Balarabe, are you there?
Mr. Elam, can you just
sir.
move to the next
Yeah, good
question,
afternoon.
please?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Hear me along. Hear me.
Hello, good afternoon.
It should go.
Go ahead.
All right. First off, my name is Jamil Bashir Balarabi. I'm from Gambia, and I just want to say thank you to the Honorable for giving us time and then impacting on us. First off, I believe that nation building has to be encompassing on fighting crimes also. My question is, for me, I believe if a crime is being committed, there must be a punishment for it. Why I bring this is due to the insecurity happening in the country presently, the kidnapping, banditry, the Yahoo kids and everything. My question to the honorable member is, I think if there is a way that they can push that, probably the system of punishing should be more aggressive. It being kind of the way they used to do before. Maybe if you kill somebody, they should kill you. Probably it will go a long way in curbing this issue. Thank you.
Okay, well, that also depends on the leadership style and the leadership ideology, because probably what you guys took as the different styles of leadership, all actually work in an individual, just that sometimes one is stronger in dispensing a particular task. But it depends on the ideology. It depends on the political ideology people have. That's the reason why you have Labour Party in Europe, and then you have, when you go to US, you have Republicans, and also you have Democrats and so on. It all talks about the ideology people exhibit leadership or dispense leadership or governance generally on that part. So I agree with you. I wouldn't say no to your approach. What is important is for us to actually understand the law and understand why we need to keep it, because that's also important, because a lot of times people do not understand the ripple effect of violating the law. For example, now, some Nigerians who felt that all they need to do is to make money allowed bad fuel to come into Nigeria. They collected the money they wanted to collect. The fuel has come into Nigeria. It has affected people's cars. It has affected people's jobs. It has created serious fuel scarcity in the country. And that has a lot of economic effects around the country. So it is very terrible. So it's very, very, very terrible. So people need to understand.
Honorable sir, we can't get you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, I said my time is up. So I said, in responding to the last question, it depends on people's political ideology. That's why we have Democrats and Republicans, and people lead based on that. But for me, in my opinion, what is important is for people to understand the law and the effects of violating it. People violated the law and the wrong fuel came into Nigeria, and look at where we are. People have lost their jobs. People have lost a lot of money in their cars because their cars were damaged. And it has made prices of goods to rise. It has limited people from movement, and it has affected aviation. It has affected everything just because of one person's greed. So what is important is for people to understand the law before the capital punishment. I agree with capital punishment. Okay. And maybe lastly to say, if all of us were leaders, we would have understood the implications of it. So gentlemen, I don't know if you can post comments to tell me how the session went. I'd appreciate to read your comments and also know where you think if you have great.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable. And we will go ahead to take questions from the first session while the Honorable looks through our comment to see how the session went. So I would like to give an opportunity for all the questions that were supposed to ask for the first session. If you have a question, you can raise up your hand and we can give an opportunity to ask questions. If you can also type your questions. We'll respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much. I am seeing Benjamin Ame. His hand. Okay, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Benjamin Ame.
All right, thank you. I don't know if you're hearing me.
We are hearing you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Particularly, I would have loved to give my comment towards the last presentation, but I think it's off now. But just a little contribution to what he has said. I think we should be grateful that we have someone like Honorable Salmon in Nigerian politics at the moment. While he was giving us the presentation, I was able to do a quick search on his profile, and I discovered that a good...
I'm seeing the session. Page 236, I do why they're still there. And we go to 231. 231.
Okay, I'm sorry, Honorable Member of the House. I thought you were off the section already, but Hello?
Can you reduce
Please,
the noise?
do I still have the floor?
Yes. Go ahead and ask your question. You
Moderator,
have 1 minute.
Hearing me? Do I still have the floor?
I'm hearing you. You have 1 minute for your question. 1 minute.
I guess his network is faulty.
Okay, so can we take John Yakubu? You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Where's the laptop now?
Okay, please, can you hear me now?
Well done, sir.
Yeah. John Yakubu,
right? Mine is more of a comment than... Yes, sir. Mine is Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir. Mine is more of a comment than question. I really enjoyed
we
this
want to take
section
questions.
of the. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your understanding. Okay, I would like to read a question. I have a question from Cecilia Oga. She said, how can we take over the leadership of this country, assuming we now have these three categories of leadership? Because we all know that our leadership is mostly full of thorns in form of leaders. Sheun, Mr. Sheun, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. That's a question from Cecilia Oga.
Okay, that's fine. Can we take two questions together because of time?
Okay. Can a leader, this is coming from Joy Joshua, can a leader be visionary, developer, and manager at the same time?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm excited and I love the trend of the lesson today. So you will realize that all what we started talking about leadership from yesterday till date is a relationship. We are trying to emphasize that leadership is more about your person, yourself, not just about a position. Let's not forget that, right? Now, concerning the idea that can somebody be all of this, every one of us have the capacity to learn everything, but there is something that we are very good at. Now, if you remember what I shared about the Singapore model, they had the visionary leaders. They did not have the developing leaders. They did not have the management leaders. All of these things was not found in one person. We say that the founding fathers, they gave a vision, they posed a vision for Singapore. Then they now identified among their inner circle who were those who are developing leaders. Then they empowered them and put them in a place of responsibility to develop what they have put down as a vision. Then when they now identify who are those that have management capacity and they put them in charge. Now, you see, all of us as leaders, we are not the best in everything. But leaders are people who are able to identify the people who are in their team and put them in the right places. If you put a person in the wrong place, it cannot be effective. For instance, imagine some of you that watch football or that play football, imagine Messi catching the goalpost, in the goalpost. Do you think the team that Messi belongs to will win tournament? No, they will not. Is it because Messi is a bad player? No. The problem is that Messi is in the wrong place. Many of us, we have not been effective in our work, in our businesses, because we have been in the wrong places. So it's very important that you as a leader, you identify your niche and then you stay there. Let me also add that for Nigeria to develop, we're not looking for a leader that knows everything. No. If you find a leader that says he knows everything and he can do everything, you should run from that kind of leader. We need a leader that can harness the resources of Nigerians. For instance, a leader that understands that I'm a visionary person and this person is a developer, is someone that can develop the system. You put him in place where he can do that. If you identify someone that can manage a system, put him in that place. That is what we need. US is big, not because they have a super leader. No. It's because of the individuals that have been given the opportunity to contribute to their leadership. Is that correct? So then about how can we take over leadership? We don't need to take over leadership. We just need to lead. You see, one of the challenges with young people is that a lot of times we steer revolutions without being prepared to manage those revolutions. We have seen it in other African countries playing out. It's not enough to protest and take over, do a revolution. Do we have a blueprint of how we want the country to continue to lead? That is what we guarantee stability. Many nations that young people go into revolution, push revolution without preparing, they are unstable till date. So we should rather start looking at how we can start leading from our communities. And that is how the effect is seen in the whole world. Mr. Elam, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. I have another question from Obida Obed. He said, how can globalization affect third world countries, that is Nigeria, just like China and Chile?
Okay, yeah. If I understand the question well, how does globalization affect third world countries? Yes. Well, if we look at it, because the question is open-ended, I will look at it from different perspectives. For instance, every nation that we call, if you look at where we started from, the countries we call great, one of the things we saw is that they were able to harness technology. That's one. So if Nigeria, who is a developing nation, want to really grow and become among the great nations, we must be able to harness technology. So how do we do that? We need to identify technology accelerators, just like Singapore did. And that is what even Jim Collins recognized in his book, Good to Great. They identify technology accelerators. For instance, look at Nigeria. Nigerian startups have been making waves in the entire world. This year alone, I know 2 startups that were able to raise $300 million, $200 million within the year for their businesses, tech companies. Look at what we experienced last year. Nigerians are building technology. So what we need to do is to harness their resources, provide. Do you even observe that many of the ventures that young people are doing well, they have less investment? For instance, Nigerian music is one of the best music in the world. How much government investment is on music? We look at sports, we look at movie. Nigerian movies are one of the best in the world also. Then we look at technology. So we can do that by harnessing young people with the skills to build technological products and solutions. We harness such. So if I understand your question well, developing countries can they can take the advantage of technology. Then the world is a global village. Globalization is everywhere. When you have a business, your business cannot only thrive within your zone. It's affected directly or indirectly by everything that's happening globally. So as young people, like I said earlier, we must understand the global agenda and also use it to craft a vision to put a nation among the communities of great ones. Right on, sir. Mr. Elam, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheon. We have come to the end of today's facilitation, and I want to appreciate each and every one for your participation. Thank you for all our resource persons that have made our day today. Thank you for the listeners also. Thank you for your response and your questions. And I want to believe that through this course, through this training, we're going to be raising leaders that are people-minded, leaders that are looking at globalization towards building Nigeria great again, and also leaders that will take responsibilities to make sure that Nigeria is great again. Thank you very much, Honorable Sir, for the time you spend with us with your busy schedule. Thank you, Mr. Sheon, for all the resource you've given us today. And I want to also appreciate the team for giving me the opportunity to moderate today. I want to give this opportunity for the Dean of Studies to maybe give us a heads up for the next training that we'll have.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Today's session, I believe, was so inspiring. I could read from the comments. Mr. Sheon, you did well. Honorable Simon, that was a catchy one. For the participants, please, I want to encourage us to maximize the use of the group chat. Send in your questions or on anything you need clarity. And then for the groups, please, let's make sure we we fall into our appropriate groups so that by next week, we'll start using our groups for what they are meant for. Thank you everyone for your time. See you next week.
Thank you. Next week, when?
Next week, Tuesday.
Okay.
We'll be having these meetings Tuesdays, every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. Three times a week. The contact is 3 times a week. So we'll be meeting next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Sheon. Do you have the last comment so that we can call it a day?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Elam, for the wonderful moderation. So other communications will continue on the group chats. Please, let's not make it rowdy. Many of you have been talking about group leaders, group leaders. We are not choosing group leaders for you. That's why we say we're going to be having group sessions. So individuals can take the responsibility of creating the groups like you have already done. When we come next week, we're going to be having the group session where we talk about the group dynamics. In that session, you're going to be having your group meeting where you select a leader and you can also put up a structure for your group. You give your group a name, a face. You can even do a logo as time goes on. But we want something that we want you to handle your group like a republic, you know, because that's the platform you're going to be using to learn, to share, and also to do your assignments. So please take note of that. You can continue your conversation in the groups, but please report any group that is not following our ethics to any of the SLOs that you already know. Then for your technical issues, reach out to Samuel on the group. I'm sure that when he collects all the complaints, we'll know how to link it up. Some of you have not filled that form yet, the acceptance form. That's why you're not assigned to any group. So you have to fill it. When you fill it, probably by Friday, we're going to be assigning you to your groups. If you have any question, just reach out to your dean. She knows how to respond to you and solve your problems. Thank you for your time. Please remind your other colleagues that I'm skipping the class, that skipping class is not permitted. Like I said, you have about 30 sessions, and if you're to have 85% attendance, it means you need to be part of minimum of 27 sessions. And for a session to count, you have to spend minimum of 2 hours to earn an A so I can pass that session. Otherwise, you might be required to repeat the session. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Honorable Simon Karu, and other team members who are here. I can see Elam, I can see Anne, I can see Nendemoa, I can see Mary. Thank you and have a wonderful, our Honorable ED is also here. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
With one voice, we're a nation.